Bam. Cheers, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be going over an affirmation. And this falls into the category of what I like to call meta affirmations. You also can call them blanket affirmations, umbrella affirmations. People call them self-concept affirmations. The reason I'm calling this in particularly a meta affirmation is because it is so encompassing as far as your relationship to reality that it's kind of like a little bit of a hack. So the affirmation that we're talking about, see, most of the time what we get in trouble with when we're going for any type of change in our lives is that resistance, the negative, the self-doubting, the intrusive thoughts, the negative thoughts, the spiraling. And so what do? A lot of the times we try to fight against it, we try to fight it head on. We try to, that can compound the problem a lot of the times when we're almost beating ourselves up about having the negative thoughts, right? And so this can quickly, like I said, compound, make it worse, even though what we want is to get to the better feeling state, to get to better thinking, better thoughts. We end up getting in our own way, right? So there's so many techniques that elucidate and point in this direction. I mean, the not technique, for example. When you talk about something that you don't want, again, you're placing your attention on that, which creates more of that. It's by placing your attention on something, you were agreeing to it. So by fighting against something, you were agreeing to it, right? It's a little bit of a mind fuck, but this affirmation is simply allowing things to be as they are, stopping the cycle of having a problem and then having a problem that you're having a problem, right? It's because what you resist persists, okay? So the affirmation is simple, and it really revolves around just accepting what is, accepting that you are having these emotions, that we are human beings, and that it's okay for you to have these emotions. And by accepting, paradoxically, that's how we can actually move past the emotion quicker, okay? So the key is to accepting every emotion it's okay. And then it's like all that people talk about vibration and frequency, right? But when you are trying to constantly negate something, that can work sometimes, right? Sometimes we can, through our will, just override the mechanism and short circuit it by just thinking the positive thoughts or reaching for a better thought, right? There's many different ways that you can go about doing this. It's not a one size fits all, but one thing that you can do if you're really going through it and really feeling like lower on that emotional scale, on that vibratory scale, is you can say, it's okay to feel how I feel. It's okay to feel how I feel, right? That it's not the end of the world. It's not like because you have this emotion and you've heard from people that you always have to be positive all the time, that now all of a sudden you've undone everything and now everything is going to shit. That's just simply not true. So it's okay to feel how I feel. It's okay for me to have these feelings. It's okay for me to be in the state that I'm in right now. It's okay for me to be a human being, essentially, right? And so you can use this for any situation. It'll pretty much raise your frequency no matter what situation it is. Sometimes, more specific affirmations might not click with you when you're not feeling your best. And what this is doing is it's just kind of allowing us to be where we are. It's kind of just welcoming us, like a comforting, person in your life. It could be like your mother, it could be somebody that you're going through it and they just simply give you a warm embrace, right? Sometimes you don't need to logically figure and solve things out. Of course, I'm a big proponent of using logic. I'm very practical and pragmatic, but sometimes what you need is just a hug, right? And so this is kind of like you giving that to yourself in a way, on an emotional level. This is what, like I said, this is a meta affirmation because it goes directly into basically your relationship to life and the world itself at the very foundation of it. This, I guess the way that I want to round this conversation out is that when we understand that all of these things are true, right? There can be multiple things that are true at once. Yeah, your feelings matter. Yeah, your emotions matter. Yeah, your affirmations, your thoughts, they all matter, right? And so if you just completely, go in though and keep beating this thing, it's like you're beating a dead horse. You're then your attention is focused on a past that you don't want, and so you're going to be creating more of that. The simplest way that we can do is realize that that's not really doing us any good, and it's okay for us to have these negative emotions. It's okay for us to have these negative feelings, and by doing that, we are then able to look forward. We're then able to look towards the future without beating ourselves up, without compounding the problem. There's already an issue. There's already some past mistake, some past hurt, something that is causing us to feel this negative emotion. It's causing us to feel in this state of basically emotional turmoil, And so by saying that's okay, now you're not resisting it anymore, and now it can go on its own course. It's okay that I don't feel 100% right now, right? And now it's okay for me to, it's okay for me to feel like this, and I can still get what I want. You can even tag that onto the end, because that is true as well. There's a lot of people that, people denigrate the idea of hard work or the idea of work in general, or the idea of action sometimes in this space of manifestation. But there's a lot of people that actually get results from doing those things, and they do it from a place where they're not necessarily feeling the best. Sometimes you do things and you don't feel like doing them, and you still get a good result, right? So it's not to say that like the black and white thinking, it's got to go. We got to get rid of the black and white thinking. The black and white thinking is saying, it's very persuasive. It's very appealing to the logical mind or the human brain to be, this is all the only way, and then this is not the way, right? We get caught up with that. It goes for everything. You see it in politics. You see it in religion. You see it in, we're going to make this the bad guy. These are the bad guys. This is the good guys. The tribalism, right? It goes for the same thing in our minds. It's like, okay, this is the one and only way. That's not really the truth. You don't need to be a spiritual bypassing in this sense where you're not allowing yourself to feel. You gotta feel those emotions, and it's all right, and acknowledge and be okay with it. And that's how you're going to be able to, and oftentimes, come out the other end in a more productive state, in a state that's allowing you to process that, but just get past it rather than dwelling in that. People can go into these funks and allow them to take sometimes weeks, which lead to months, and for some people years and even decades of their life, where they allow themselves to tell themselves this negative story, and that's what takes root in their consciousness. And again, we're creating all the time through our self-talk, through the words that we are telling ourselves, what we are affirming to ourselves is true. So when we affirm to ourselves that it's okay, then it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, regardless if we were feeling like crap, regardless if we made a mistake, regardless of whatever happened that caused you to feel like this in the moment past regrets. There was somebody, I was listening to somebody talk about his relationship recently, and lack of relationships, really. The fact that he's gone decades without having a good, solid relationship, and the regret. And the conversation that we had came to the conclusion, really, that that's not going to do you any good. Even if that's true, it's like what's gone is done. It's said in the past. What we need to focus on now is focus on ourselves, focus on yourself. And the fact that you are going out there and you are now having positive experiences with women, that you are now taking action towards this goal that you want to have, which is cultivating a good relationship with a woman that you find that you like, right? And so that's what's going to serve us is keeping our focus and present moment awareness toward the present, towards the future, and not lingering and stewing in the negativity. So with that being said, guys, much love as always. Drop this with a like, hit me with a subscribe. Let me know your comments down below, what your thoughts are on this. Have you guys used an affirmation like this? Do you guys have different affirmations that you also use that can essentially allow you to help that overcoming of resistance? I have an ebook, which is going to be releasing very soon, called the Robotic Affirmation Code, the formula for successful manifestation on autopilot. It's a mouthful. And that within that book is contained, there's many techniques on how to overcome resistance. This is one that popped up, and it's a valid one to use. There's many techniques, like I said at the beginning of this, the not technique. There are even using something as humor can bypass that logical mind. The complaining manifesting technique, the exaggerating technique. But humor is another thing. It's like the subconscious doesn't really process humor. So if you're making a joke about something, but you're always self-deprecating, your mind is processing that now. But if you make a joke that's more along the lines of like self-aggrandizing, and people always coming out with, oh, as if like virtue signaling, as if you don't want to think well of yourself. Come on. Like, you want to think positive thoughts of yourself. So sometimes it's good to actually lean into that and be a little bit self-aggrandizing, be a little bit boastful in your own mind, be a little bit like, cocky, funny, right? That can actually then again seep into your subconscious. You notice that people that have that type of attitude, they often do better in terms of dating, in terms of life, in terms of relationships, communication with people, because they have this kind of high opinion of themselves, or at the very least, they have that confidence. The confidence only comes in, not to say that you want to flip-flop and overcompensate and all of a sudden be this very braggadocious, imposing type of attitude. That's not attractive either. But having that idea that, like that kind of little playful, coy, with a smirk attitude, that's going to seep into your subconscious too. It's going to affect you. But if you're always constantly denigrating yourself and telling jokes where you're the butt of the joke, or if you're around people that do that, that's also going to have an effect. So at all times, things are going in. Humor, the mind can't process the word no. So when we say, I won't do this, I'm not going to do this, that's why you see people get into these situations a lot of time. It's like exactly what they say they don't want, because their focus is there. You get what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense, guys. Now, again, hit this with a like, hit me with a subscribe. Let me know down below your thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys do in terms of overcoming resistance, and I will see you guys in the next video.